Hey everybody, thanks for watching. People are afraid of a lot of things in this world. Fear is what controls people. Now, Christians are afraid of Satan. Now, this video is about who Satan really is and why you shouldn't be afraid of Satan. Now, Satan is the planet Saturn. Saturn is Satan. Now, the god of Saturn is Kronos. Kronos is also the god of time. That's where they get the phrase Father Time. He controls chronology. Now, whether you realize it or not, time controls your life. You do everything on a time schedule. You need a time watch, or you need to know the time to do anything in your life. And you have 60 seconds in a minute. You have 60 minutes in an hour. You have 24 hours in a day. 2 + 4 = 6. So you get 666 from the planet Saturn. Now, if you study Kronos further, who is the god of Saturn, you'll see that he has a son named Zeus. Zeus, the Greek god Zeus, is the son of Kronos. Now, when you look at a picture of Zeus and you compare it with Jesus, you kind of see the image favor each other. Now, the Greeks did not have the letter J in their alphabet. They used an I. So if you were to spell out Jesus in Greek back then, it would be Aegyptos, which basically translates as Hail Zeus. Now, if you write down 666, since they don't have letters that will correspond to 666, you will have to write it down 660 and 6. When you do that, the letters that do correspond with that will be chi, z, stigma. What this means is the chi, which is the X, is Christ, which is why they use the X for Christmas or Xmas. The Z, or the Zoo, however you want to pronounce that, is Zeus. And stigma or stigmata, if you remember the movie with Patricia Arquette, Stigmata, when she was going through the same things that Christ went through, and she was having the same wounds on her hands and on her feet that Christ got when he was nailed to the cross. This is called stigmata. It means the same as Christ. So basically, you get 666 from Saturn, which basically means Christ, Zeus are the same. So where does Satan fit in all of this? Now, in order for me to explain that better, check out this little short video about the planet Saturn.
It's something big, something strange, and something never seen in the universe before. Saturn, the solar system's most bizarre yet beautiful planet, has just gotten even more mysterious. In 1979, the Voyager spacecraft showed a perfect geometric form over the North Pole. In October 2006, the Cassini craft found that it is still there.
It's just bizarre, and it sits there kind of still. It doesn't move with the planet. The pole, there's a hexagonal feature, a six-sided polygon that encircles the pole at about 78 degrees north latitude. And it's sitting there as a set feature.
The hexagon is similar to Earth's polar vortex, which has winds blowing in a circular fashion around the pole. Saturn's vortex can fit 4 Earths inside of it and extends 60 miles deep into Saturn's clouds.
And what's more bizarre, Voyager saw little tiny clouds going around at about 100 meters per second, which is about 200 miles an hour, going around this racetrack.
So as you can see, there's a perfect hexagon at the top of the planet Saturn. Now, from the hexagon, you can create a square. You can also put a 5-pointed star inside of a hexagon. Now, if you pay attention to the constellations, you know that Saturn is ruled by the constellation Capricorn, which is the goat. A lot of you are familiar with the goat of Mendes, or Baphomet. And Baphomet is always associated with Satan. You see people like Kanye West wearing the goat, and you see people like Beyonce flashing the goat ring and wearing the goat. Now, really, it's just the goat that represents Capricorn, which is ruling Saturn. So Saturn is Satan, the goat, or the constellation of Capricorn rules Saturn, and that's all it really means. Now, you have to realize that Saturn used to be a sun. If you do your research on Saturn, it used to be a sun. It used to be a lot closer to our solar system, so close that you can see it from Earth. Now, if you go back and look at a lot of the old ancient writings, they drew a different solar system than the one we had, where they could see Saturn as a sun. They actually worshipped it, and they called it El. It was the worship of El. If you worship El, you was an elder. If you was an elder, you could be elected as one of the elites, and you were elevated to a higher post. It was the worship of El. A guy named Jordan Maxwell does a really good presentation on this. Now, Satan, or Lucifer, is called the son of the morning. How art thou falling from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? What they're speaking about was Saturn, which was a sun that fell. It's not a sun anymore, and it fell from the sky as a sun. So just like how Satan fell as a sun, they're really speaking about Saturn not being a sun no more. That's what it means. Now, I get a lot of questions into my inbox, and a lot of people always ask me, why is it that celebrities sell their soul for fame and fortune? You know, are they really selling their soul to Satan? What is that whole thing all about? Now, what this really is those celebrities who have entered into these secret societies have rules they have to follow. Now, the perpetuation that they want to keep going is that Satan is responsible for all the evil on this planet. And if they want to keep their fame and fortune, they have to continue that perpetuation. Now, Satan, or Saturn, which is Kronos, who is controlling time. Now, time controls you, and that's how they control you with time. You do everything on a time schedule. You wake up at a certain time, you go to work at a certain time. You tune into your favorite program that is programming you at a certain time. And you do all of that until you die. You know, every year you worship the same things at that specific date and time. Christmas, your birthday, Easter. It's time. Time controls you, and they control time. So they control you. And as long as they get you to keep, you know, celebrating these award shows same time every year, you know, going to these powerhouses and these same events same time every year, you are following their pattern. You are stuck in their loop until your time is up and you die. Now, the whole thing is one big scam, and because people take the Bible literally and they don't study the Bible, they instead have somebody read it to them and interpret it for them, then they become followers. Now, it's a lot of people who's in on this big scam, and while celebrities may flash devil symbols and, you know, horns and, you know, stuff like that, corporations have a different way of showing their allegiance to this whole scam, and they basically put in their logo who their allegiance is to. Now, if you look at a lot of corporations' logo, you can see the planet Saturn. So when you start looking at some of these logos, they remind you of Saturn. You can see what they're doing, you can see what they represent. And because people have no clue that Saturn is shown more than any other planet on TV, well, not just because it has rings and every other planet would just be a circle, they make sure they put Saturn in there. Now, the way the ancients said that Saturn was seen from Earth was as an eye. If you take Saturn, you kind of turn it a little bit to where that hexagram is at the top, you will have the rings, you will have the circle in the middle, and then you will have that hexagram, which looks like an eye looking down at you. So of course they would worship it. They worship it as El, as I explained earlier. There are also other ways you can find Satan in astrology. You can find them in the constellation Draco. Now, the Bible describes Satan as a serpent or a dragon. And if you look at in the constellations, Draco specifically, this is where they get Dracula. It looks like a serpent dragon or a dragon. Now, for me, the simple fact that God created Satan, who is his own worst enemy, and will not destroy Satan. As a matter of fact, Satan has gotten away with so much. He's tempted Jesus, he got away with that. He tempted Job, got away with that. He tricked Adam and Eve, he got away with that. God curses him on his belly, but in the book of Job, he walks into a meeting that God is having with a bunch of angels, and then God say, you know, where did you come from? He said, from walking to and from, you know, up and down through the earth. So, you know, what's going on with that? Now, to me, the Catholic Church, who gave us this whole religion thing, is the real Satan. As a matter of fact, if you saw in my video, in the year 1560, the Geneva Bible actually listed the Pope as being the Antichrist. And I show you how they came up with that, because the crown that they put on the Pope's head when he is crowned Pope says Vicaris Filii, which means the vicar of the Son of God. Now, when you add the Roman numeral value to each letter, it equals 666. Now, the video showed you a storm going around a hexagon at the top of the planet Saturn. Now, this is the square of Saturn. This is perfect math because all numbers are 1 through 9. You can use 1 through 9 to get any number that you want. 0 means 0. But as you can see, that when you add these numbers in any direction, it equals 15. And in perfect math, you break down numbers till you get one single digit. Now, when you add 1 plus 5, you get 666. So you can see there's a lot of different ways you can get 666. And you gotta remember, you can also get the square from the planet Saturn. Take a look at this old DuckTales comic. You see Scrooge McDuck chasing the money bin. The money bin is in the shape of a square. The money bin goes, it hits the Twin Towers, the towers fall, and Scrooge McDuck says, I get a new tourist attraction. Now, if you look at where the Twin Towers fell at, right now they have a tourist attraction that is there. If you check it out, it is 2 squares. They're trying to show you who is responsible for knocking down the towers. Now, if you follow the comet to the end, the money bin goes out of the planet and it lands on a comet that looks like the planet Saturn. They're showing you what they're doing. They're showing you who is responsible for these things that's going on in the world. And it's not Satan. It is the planet Saturn and the people who worship it. Now, in the video, they showed you that there's a storm going around the top of Saturn. It's going around the hexagon. It's going around the square or the cube. Now, these Muslims are praying to a square. They're praying to Saturn. They go around the square or around the cube, and they don't even realize what they're doing. Now, the whole thing about this, keeping us in this time, is to keep us at a certain level. Now, if you study anything about spirit science, you know about chakras, and you know that, you have 7 chakras, and most people don't make it out of 2 or 3 chakras. Now, that has something to do with the flower of life, which I was talking about earlier, and keeping us in the Malakut level, which is the kingdom of matter. So they want to keep us in a materialistic world. Everything is about getting something, getting money so you can get a material item. It's not about spirituality, true spirituality, and moving up. People only become religious because they want something. They want a materialistic thing. They want a car, they want money, they want something. Now, they want to keep you in those lower 6 chakras. And some people, if you do manage to light 6 chakras, it's the 7th one you want to light. 7th one is heaven, or 7th heaven. That's where they get that from. But we're stuck in the materialistic world. Now, I always tell people that the real evil is in man. We are all capable of evil things. The evil is in us. You get 666 in our very being. We are made up of 666, 6 protons, 6 electrons, 6 neutrons, which gives you carbon, which makes us. Now, people need to wake up and realize that there is no boogeyman, Satan, responsible for all the problems in the world. You are responsible for your own problems. You are where you at because something you did or did not do. Don't blame it on no Satan. Don't blame little kids starving to death on Satan. Don't blame natural disasters on Satan. It's man. Men are responsible for the problems in this world, and they always will be until people wake up and realize what's going on. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, share this video. Don't be afraid to let people know that you are getting knowledge. Thanks.